The majority of us go through the educational system and life and never learn what's right for us. Maybe it's time for you to create your own definition of success. And that's where we come in. This is the Successology Podcast, here to supplement the traditional education system and life with real-world skills and knowledge, helping you create your own definition of success. Successology. Here's your host, Rajdeep Singh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Successology Podcast. Now, today on the show, we are chatting with Shalini Subramaniam, aka your personal branding buddy. Shalini had the courage to do something that would send shivers down most of our spines. She left her 7 years of corporate job to pursue her passion and purpose. So she wants to show you the magic that you can do with platforms like LinkedIn. So why is this important? Well, because there is a lot of noise out there, and Shalini teaches you how to stand out by showing your unique self and serve the people the best way you can. So without further ado, let's start with the interview. Shalini, good afternoon and welcome to the Successology Podcast.
Good afternoon, Rajdeep. Thank you so much for the amazing introduction, and thank you for having me in the show.
It's my pleasure. Now, as I mentioned in the pre-interview, that we have 20 minutes or so, but we've got a lot of questions. So let's get into it. So first thing that I wanted to ask you is that, your thought process when you decided to quit your 7 years of a professional job to pursue your passion. I'm sure you must have faced a lot of feedback, criticism from your parents, your family members, your friends and colleagues alike. So, because if someone wants to follow the same path, they're stuck at a job, but they know that they have a passion for something else. So if you can mention, how did you manage the situation? I think that can help people a lot.
Thank you, Raji, for the amazing question. I think a lot of people have asked me similar questions before as well, like, how did you take the risk to leave such an uncomfortable job to actually get into something that's very risky, which is entrepreneurship? And because entrepreneurship is full with a lot of risk and also uncertainties, and we all know that. So when I decided to leave my job and get into entrepreneurship full time, I did get a lot of, oppositions from my parents, and also especially my friends, my parents, who don't really understand what am I trying to do over here, because none of them have been in a similar path that I'm trying to be in. So the people who are around me have been the default path of living the life. So just like, finishing your university and going to a good job, getting the salary and on and on. And no one have actually been out of that comfort zone and trying something new out of that. And because of that, none of them could understand what I was trying to do. And I cannot get angry because I cannot get angry. Then they're not supporting in what am I trying to do. It's because they've never been in this similar path with me. So I try to put myself in their shoe and, make myself feel that whatever they're trying to say or, say to me is because they love me and is because they want the best for myself. Mm-hmm. But eventually, it's me who knows what's the best for me. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to actually make them trust you, that you will be able to prove to them that this is going to happen for you. Mm-hmm. So for example, I told my parents that give myself 2 years and I will prove to you that this is going to work. And in the initial stage, they might be a little bit reluctant with the things that I'm trying to, because it's very uncomfortable for them, and it's like a reputation eventually for them, especially being Asian parents. Mm-hmm. Telling them that give me that time period, and I will show it to you that this is going to happen. So when I promise that to them, there's no turning back for me. I have to do it. Right? There's no turning back. So I have to prove to them that I'm going to make this happen. So even though it is a certain period of my entrepreneurship journey, there is a point that I break down, I still have to, pull myself up because I have no choice. So for anyone who's looking into, getting into the same, embarking in the entrepreneurship journey, if you think that you're passionate about something, it's important to prove to them in some ways. in some ways, like for myself, I did had some side hustle. I did prove to them that I was making something out of it. So prove to them in some ways, maybe you have established yourself as an influencer in some platforms, or maybe you have some connection that will be able to help you. So in that way, they will have a little trust on you that this is going to happen. I know it's not your responsibility to prove to people that this is going to happen, but they are your friends, they are your family, so you don't want to hurt them. That's what I feel. So it's important to make them trust that you're going to make this happen.
Now, I love the bit about you talked about, like, seeing things from other people's perspective, because being your friends and family, at the end of the day, they didn't want anything bad for you. But it's just because they don't have those references. I mean, they're coming from a good place, but it's not necessarily the right thing for you personally. And if you start looking at things from other people's perspective, then I think it is your responsibility to prove to them or to make them trust you that you can pull it off. That's wonderful. So, but still, I mean, the courage to follow your own heart takes a lot of guts. I personally know it because right after uni, I didn't get the traditional job. I'm 23 and I'm still unemployed, technically speaking, because I'm working on an edtech startup. So every now and then, even my parents question me like, what the hell are you doing with your life? You're 23, what are you doing? But I know what I want to do. And I've made a deal with my father that until 25, let me follow my passion. Then if it doesn't work, I'll go do an MBA. So he's happy about that. But okay, let's come back to the personal branding. Now, we all know that no matter what the industry you're in, there is a lot of noise. There's a lot of competition. And the only way to stand out is by having a personal brand. In your ebook, you mentioned that everyone has a personal brand. If you're online, you have a personal brand. Doesn't matter if you have 1 follower, 10 followers, or 10,000. So, but personal branding can be kind of tricky. And you talk about it in your book as well, that personal branding is about showing, not talking. You need to be walking the talk. And there are certain sort of steps that can help anyone sort of begin with personal branding. And you apply them to your own business, which are decide, dedicate, deliver, and differentiate. So if someone wants to begin with personal branding, can you walk us through the 4-step process?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, Rajdeep. Thank you so much. So if you have a social media presence, you already have a personal brand. Whether you're aware or not, each and every one of us have our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. That means you have a social media presence. It's just that you haven't taken control of your presence yet. That means others might be taking control out of it because you do not have the purpose and clarity on why are you showing up. So personal branding is eventually you understanding and having the clarity and purpose on why are you showing up yourself to be visible out there. And that's what finally boils down what is personal branding is, because personal branding is taking control of your online presence and your reputations in the end. So deciding what you want to be known for, who you want to be known as, and also who do you want to reach out to, is what is the steps in designing the purpose of personal branding. So understanding the definition of the personal branding, and then you will decide how you want to break down the 4 steps for yourself. For example, one I made the steps that I have in my ebook is the 4 steps. So that means you have to design, you have to dedicate, deliver, and differentiate. So let me actually break down this by giving an example of what I've specifically implemented in my business. So first of all, deciding on what's my purpose on showing up, deciding on who I want to show up to. So that is your target audience. Okay, so when people are noticing me online, they need to know, okay, Shalini is specifically niche in what industry. I can't be talking about everything. I can talk about digital marketing. I'm a digital marketing trainer, by the way. And I can talk about Facebook, I can talk about Instagram, I can talk about SEO, Google advertisements and all that. But I don't speak about everything. And especially when you're starting out, it's important for you to aware that who you are trying to reach out. After you have grown a certain, in a certain level, that's when you actually broaden up your niche. Mm-hmm. But when you're starting out, it's important to choose a specific niche and where you are trying to design to build your personal brand is. So I decided that, okay, I want to focus on building my personal brand. So I want to share my journey in building my personal brand, at the same time how others can do at the same time. So I decided that. And secondly, I dedicate. So I need to dedicate the amount of time to learn and also share. So learn about personal branding. For myself, personal branding was not about learning, but more about doing it. So like you said, right? It's not about just telling, but showing it. So personal branding is about showing it. So that's when I start showing up on various social media platforms. And of course, I learned along the way on how to share, what kind of content that I need to write. Because content strategy is a whole different topic itself. It's you can show up, but if it is the content strategy is not it's not right, then you will not reach out to the target audience that you're looking for. So that's where you learn about what you need in order to grow in that specific topic that you have decided. So that's why I've dedicated my time, my energy, my passion into it. And then that's where the delivery comes in. So in terms of delivery, when I started on LinkedIn, I started as someone who writes a lot of written content. That's when after some period of time, I started video content, and I went on LinkedIn Live as well. So LinkedIn Live actually changed the whole game. It's because when people hear your voice, it's different. People are more connected to you when they can hear you. So it can be either audio or video, but obviously video is because they can look into your eyes. Your eyes actually speaks a different language. And making videos on LinkedIn and also going LinkedIn Live is the way I do my delivery of my share to people on what kind of knowledge that I have that might benefit my tribe on LinkedIn. So they can be someone who just connected with me, someone who have been following me for months, but they know when they reach out to, when they see my content, they know that, okay, this person is actually sharing her journey and, more into storytelling. So eventually branding is also about telling your stories, telling, showing. So story doers, you eventually sharing the stories that you are doing. So that's why I actually slowly moving, telling the story in a day-to-day things, what's happening, who am I as a person. People know that I have a daughter. Anyone who reach out to me, then they always ask me, how's your daughter? It's the first thing that anyone will ask me before even they, move on to the other questions. So my daughter is kind of more well-known on LinkedIn compared to me. Okay, so that's where the delivery comes in. And lastly, differentiation. How do you differentiate yourself? There are a pool of so many content out there. So you want to showcase yourself as unique. It's either you want to be unique self, or you just give extra to people. When you see content out there, it's very surface level. Everyone who shares their content is something that you will be able to search in internet. But if you go deep down, sharing your stories especially is going to make all the difference. Differentiate yourself by telling your story, because someone out there might be going through what you have gone through 2-3 years ago, and when you share the story, it's going to help them. And that's how you differentiate yourself from the others in the market. You are unique is because of your story. So that are the 4 steps and how you can exactly implement to deliver your personal branding. And it's very easy. You can start now, you can start anytime, start sharing what you're doing and share your story.
That's amazing. To me, deciding, dedicating, and differentiating makes sense. And delivering, that's when the content strategy comes into place, correct? So one follow-up question I have about delivering would be the frequency, or how many times you post, as well as how do you manage posting so much content with other commitments?
Thank you, Rajdeep. So when I was starting up, I posted every single day. And that's why I encourage for most of them who could actually dedicate that amount of time to actually post each and every day, because you're just starting and you want to make sure that people can actually see you each and every day. So you might post a content today, and out of 100 people, 100 connections that you have, maybe only 30 people that's that saw your content. And the next day when you post, another 30 people might see your content. So there are always different people are seeing your content, right? So it's important to stay consistent, to post every day if you can when you're starting up. Once you have grown to a certain level, after 6 months, then you can look into minimizing it. That means being really careful with what you are trying to share on the platform. And dedicating the time, how could you actually dedicate that much of time? It's totally depend. Like I said, if you really want to do it, then you have to try to do it. Like for myself, I have already decided that when I started on LinkedIn, that 90 days, I actually posted video every single day. So even though when I know that no one is actually watching my video, at 12 a.m. no one is going to watch my video, but I know they have to post it, and that's okay if no one is seeing it, because that's what I committed to. And that 90 days. And after that, I just reduced the amount of content that I posted. And look into repurposing your content. You can have like a 20 minutes. You can record yourself for 20 minutes, and then break out the content. And then you produce 5 videos already for yourself, and then look into producing your articles, your content based on this single video. That means have a hero content. So I call that a hero content. Hero content is an article that can be an article or a video which is up to 20 minutes, and then you break down those content to give you a multiple content that you can start posting on different social media platforms.
My question that I wanted to ask was about the importance of content creation, your tips, but you've already shared them. So thank you very much. Another question I think I'd like to ask would be, people can follow the 4 steps as you outline them, and they'll be on the right path. But if their profile isn't optimized, they won't get far. So given your years of experience on LinkedIn, what are some of the key things people should be mindful of when first starting with LinkedIn to ensure that their profile is fully optimized?
Okay, thank you, Rajdeep. So when you're starting on LinkedIn, it's definitely important to optimize your platform, because when you start doing the work, that means start posting, engaging, people are starting to notice you. And when they notice you, the first thing that they will do is to go to your profile and look into, who is this person? And if your profile, if they see that you do not put any effort in optimizing your platform in your profile, then they're not going to be interested in you. It's simple. You're on this platform and you have not taken 10 minutes or 30 minutes just so that your profile is up to date. That's including your banners, your profile picture, your keywords, your profile, your headlines, your descriptions. All that is going to take less than 30 minutes for you to set it up. And if you're not taking the effort to do it, then it can actually demotivate a lot of people from connecting with you. Personally, that's what I think. But as you're starting up, for my clients, most of the time, before they even start on LinkedIn, I always tell them that optimizing your LinkedIn is very important, and that's what I give for them for free. So in my LinkedIn ebook, I have 20 steps for anyone who wants to optimize their LinkedIn and get started on LinkedIn itself. They can download it and they can apply every single thing that's there to optimize their platform and get started on the platform. And that tips is just given for free, because I think it's important for each and everyone to know how to have a standardized profile that is approachable, and that is going to attract people to connect with you.
That's amazing. So that covers up most of the things that we want to talk about. You have a challenge on LinkedIn, and I was looking at it, and the results people were able to achieve were phenomenal. So if you can tell our listeners where they can participate in the challenge and find you on LinkedIn, that'll be awesome.
Yeah. So Rajdeep, that was known as 4 days LinkedIn challenge. So I've done batch 1 and also batch 2. So if you see the students who participated on those batch, they have actually secured clients. They had a lot of leads for their business. There are a lot of people who DM them, and they have also secured speaking gigs, international speaking gigs especially. So the purpose of the challenge is for people who are struggling or procrastinating to get started on LinkedIn. So we all have the tips. We all know how is it to grow on the platform. But a lot of time what's stopping us is to take the action. So the challenge is about taking the action, and I'm there to push you and tell you what to do. And you have to do it. I mean, that's how it works. This is a challenge. And then 4 days, by you showing up, I just want to tell you that within that 4 days, by just showing up in that 4 days, you have achieved so much. What will happen if you consistently show up for the next 6 months? So that is the objective of the challenge itself. So for anyone who's looking into participating in the challenge, they can actually PM me. Currently, it's closed. I haven't looked into opening up yet, but I have a lot of people who message and asking me on when am I going to open it. So maybe next month, because I've done one this month, so might be looking into opening another one next in February. So anyone who's looking to join, they can actually PM me directly on LinkedIn, because I love to get personally connected with anyone rather than emails.
True. And I'll link your LinkedIn profile in the description of the podcast. So before I let you go, if there's one final key piece of advice that you'd like to offer our listeners, what would it be?
My one key advice would be just start. Just start anything that you have in your mind. Like, you don't have to perfect. It's never going to be perfect. There's always something for you to improve over a period of time. So whatever that you have in your mind, you want to post your first content on LinkedIn, you want to start a business, you want to, write a blog, whatever is it, just get started. Because only by taking the first step, the first step might be just doing a research. Okay, what topic should I write? By taking the first step itself is going to help you. Like for example, when I started my podcast, which I started which I started last year. When I wanted to start it was early in the year, and then it actually dragged like 2-3 months, and then I only launched it in June. It's because I was thinking so much, and I had so much research being done at the background, like what kind of topic I need to talk about and all that. But in the end, I decided to just share my journey, which eventually a lot of people reach out and say they help them because they are in the similar path with me, and somehow my ideas help them to move forward. So you never know who are you going to impact personally. So just getting started, and you're just going to thrive and move forward.
So just start and avoid paralysis by analysis.
Yes.
Perfect. So once again, Shalini, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I really appreciate it. It was wonderful having you here.
Thank you so much, Rajdeep, for having me in the show.
You've been listening to the Successology Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, make sure to leave a review on Apple Podcast and share it with a friend. That would help too. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with Raj on his personal LinkedIn at Rajdeep Singh, on Instagram at Rajdeep.1997, on Instagram at Successology.podcast, and on YouTube at Successology Podcast, helping you create your own definition of success. Make your own path to get there quicker. Until next time, this is the Successology Podcast signing off.